everyone, it's Mike from Downtown Comics. I'm here as always with James Rossman. James, how are we doing today?
Good, Mike.
Good. This is our second video for this week's books.
Yep.
And I didn't mention in the first video, but I will say that it was book shipping Wednesday, June 18th. 2025. So that's what week we're in. So so this will be our second video because there was so many comics out this week. So before we get started, downtowncomics.com is the place to go to check out all the new comics and covers, and liking, sharing, and subscribing is always appreciated. All right, so you have we're gonna do three. All three we both read, but you're gonna do an extra one.
I am.
That you read. I just flipped through it. So go ahead. What's our first one there?
So it is Batman Superman World's Finest number 40.
Okay. Yep.
This one's kind of crazy because I was actually telling my fiance, I was like, it's weird that we're already on the 40th issue. Like it didn't seem that long ago that this started.
Okay.
But I mean, here we are.
Yep.
But this issue, we are it's no longer part of the We Are Yesterday series. Crossover.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, but I think there's one more and that ends in Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah, I think there's still one more part to come out. Yes.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Okay, so this issue, we bring it back to Batman, Superman, and the not too distant past. But this one's called The Late Night on the Town. And so essentially Perry White and Jim Gordon are on this podcast essentially. And that's hosted by they literally say it in there by a dude bro. And I'm like, that's funny because that's what everybody talks about, people that crap on superhero stuff, stuff like that.
All right.
But while on the podcast, the building that they're in is attacked by a giant kaiju.
Okay.
So
it's a theme.
Exactly. So Clark and Bruce are there with them because, if I remember correctly, it's Jim Gordon that wanted Bruce there for more moral support. But he was like, well, who's really gonna listen to me? He's like, Bruce, why don't you just do it? Because they'll listen to the rich guy. They'll listen to the guy, the billionaire that, has this company and stuff like that. But, so they basically have to sneak away, and Superman and Batman show up, except Batman shows up in this giant bat mech, I guess you could call it.
Okay.
And, which is actually really cool, to be able to fight, this big, giant kaiju. And, half the issue is Superman, Batman fighting that, and then while in this also, Perry and Jim Gordon kind of team up to figure out who is behind, this monster, essentially.
Right.
That's pretty much all this issue is, really. It's just a lot of fun, to be honest. Yeah. All right. So, there wasn't a whole lot to it, but there was a lot of action, pretty cool action between not only Superman and Batman against this kaiju, but really the bat mech against this, against it. So, it was pretty fun. Yeah, I thought I'd throw that one in there. So, yeah.
All right. Well, let's get on to books we both read. So, we're starting with Krypto, I believe. Mm-hmm. So, Krypto gets his own book. When's the last time Krypto had his own book? Did he ever have a book?
I don't think so.
He probably had some sort of animated one, but this is official DC continuity Krypto. Mm-hmm. I really, really like this issue.
I did too.
I'm a dog person, I guess. Right, I don't own a dog, but I'm a dog person, and this book's just adorable. You can't help but he's just such a good boy. So, but weirdly enough, though, this is the kind of the origin, I guess, of Krypto.
Krypto. Yep. Yeah. It reminded me of exactly of the dog that was it the U.S. that sent out into space?
No, the Russians.
The Russians, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
I think it's Latka. I was thinking of the name. I think it's Latka.
Yes, I mean
there was a graphic novel about it. But yes, Russia did the dog. The U.S. did a monkey. Chimpanzee.
This is a much happier story. It's
Yes, but it has similarities. I mean, basically, we travel back to Krypton before it got destroyed. Mm-hmm. Clark is a baby, or Kal-El, I should say. And Jor-El and the mom are discussing how they can save the planet. Mm-hmm. No one's listening to them in the science department or whatever.
Which we've seen that
before. They don't believe that Krypton is coming to an end. Obviously, Jor-El and what's the mom's name?
Oh, Laura.
Laura.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why I forget that. okay, we can't convince them, so we have to design a way to evacuate the planet. So they're trying to plan, make blueprints for a life craft that can do thousands of people and take off, right?
I think in this issue they said only hundreds.
Maybe hundreds, but they want to mass produce it, and but the problem is they don't have time, and they don't know how to do that, so they make a prototype to hopefully convince the science department that, hey, this can work, we need this, and of course to test the prototype, they're gonna send up Krypto,
because they've done a couple or numerous, I think they said, of unmanned missions. Right. So, but Krypto's the first one, and they're basically kind of like, trying to keep him calm and stuff like that, while doing this, and then they shoot him off into space, and everything's good, and because they're on this like live feed essentially, and kind of talking to him, and and then some stuff happens, and then we won't divulge too much into that, but
it's very Back to the Future
right,
situation.
Absolutely,
putting Einstein in the car. So, but I mean, the thing about this book is it's just so nice. Like it's this book I would recommend for just about everyone. I think 8-year-old kids would love this book. I think adults would love this book. It's just a very nice book. It's a fun little story. The art's great.
I mean, literally in one panel we get like baby Kal-El and Krypto just curled up next
together.
To each other.
And you're just like, oh, I want to take a picture of that. So it's just a really good book. So kudos to did I write down who wrote this? I did not write down.
Yeah, and I don't remember either.
It was probably Mark Waid, if I had to guess. But no, whoever wrote it, kudos to you, sir. But yeah. That's about it. Just
very
go,
good
just go
feel
read
good
it.
Issue.
Just feel good.
Yep.
All right. Cool. What do we got next?
All right, we got Exquisite.
Something. Yeah, we go from just cute and sweet to completely out of control.
Yeah.
So all right, Exquisite Corpses number. Yeah, Corpses. Did I pronounce it right? Yeah, number 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we mentioned did we mention number 1 in our last video?
Yeah, you did. Talk about
I did.
That.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if you recall, this is a book by Tynan with a co-writer, and it is basically a combination of Hunger Games meets, I don't know, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome a little bit. I don't know what's that one? The most dangerous game. That was a story about people hunting people.
Oh
basically.
Mm-hmm.
So which Hard Target was based on, the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie that John Woo directed.
Okay.
So anyway, the game is afoot. So the first issue was set up, just setting everything up, but the game starts in issue number 2 officially. So all the so-called killers are in the field, and we start to meet more of the townspeople that are kind of the innocent
just the regular people,
in between. So we had already met the crazy gas station attendant, right? But I think the new one was the ambulance. The woman ambulance driver, was she in the first issue? I'm getting confused.
I don't think so. I think that's
okay.
So
we meet the ambulance driver, and she's related to the sheriff who as you know bounced in the last. He was paid off to just leave. Just because the town's been closed off and stuff. So I mean, I don't know.
There was, because we briefly saw the character. From the first issue, is kind of like more of a conspiracy theorist, wasn't he?
That's the guy from the pump and
that guy,
pump gas guy.
That's right.
Yes,
okay.
Yes, and then we have the two. We have the mom who works at the used car lot. She has a son who is hanging with just a guy, and his boyfriend was working like one of those Halloween fairs or whatever, and they were supposed to meet up, but the boyfriend's gonna now take the kid he's watching on for Halloween candy. Because the mom can't get out of work. So they're all over town, and we already have one death. So
I think this is more maybe like still kind of a setup issue? I mean,
I think now what we're seeing is we're going to see. It seems like the way it's going is we're going to have one confrontation each issue between two of the bad guy killers with the individuals, the victims or the innocent bystanders, I should say, mixed in somehow, and then at the end of the issue, one of those killers will lose. Because in the back end, just to have fun with it, in the back end, there's a whole game grid of who's alive and who's dead and stuff like that. So the whole thing's setting up to be each issue. There's going to be someone versus someone, and it'll be involved in the story being told. And then you've got the meta story of all the families who are all gathered together and stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's really, there's not much to talk
there's
about.
Not really, yeah.
You kind of have to read it, but but it's fun if you like that kind of stuff. It's just, it's just gory. I mean, again, it looks like a movie pitch. When is the show coming, I guess. But it is interesting, and I think as it goes forward, we'll see more
and I'll probably
stuff like that.
every time we talk about these, I'll mention them over and over again. But the trading cards that you get when it comes in the bags,
right? And I think it's official. They say, I think in the back of number 2 that a game is coming in 2026,
which would be, I'm excited because I think there's gonna be 13 cards.
I mean, if it's a card game, then it'll be kind of one of those where I think you choose a killer. And then there's a deck built around that killer, and then you play against another killer.
I think that's probably more likely what it'll be.
Yeah. So these cards that you can get, because one of the variants for each issue is a bag version that does come with a game card. It'll be interesting to see whether those game cards are, I assume at some point they're going to have to put out actual card games like a Magic like booster packs and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see whether those cards are unique, that you could have only gotten when you were buying the comics, or are they reprinted in the game itself? So
because I think I got a reprint of the first issue because I was late on the knowing about the trading cards, so I think the reprint...
No, you didn't. No, it wasn't a reprint. It just came late.
It came late. Gotcha.
Yes. Okay. So from a production standpoint, it just shipped late.
Gotcha.
So the reprint is out this week, but it's just a plain thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it just wasn't ready, so it came out like a week later. So,
okay. Yeah. Well, it's cool that they're doing this though. Like, I mean, I feel like not a lot of because.
No, it's an interesting concept. Like I said, it does play out like a card game or a video game. I mean, there's just there's all kinds of things. So I mean, if this seems like we're just jammering about it, it's just we can't. There's not enough specifics yet, and you don't know. You're given just cursory info about all the different killers. Like, this one's a psychopath who likes knives. This is someone who likes shooting arrows. This is an ex-army ranger who looks like the Punisher. Looks like guns and stuff. So I if this sounds interesting, you'll like the book. It's good. Even I like it. I don't like horror.
I know I like horror, but I've never been big into like this type of like horror where it's like people against people, whatever.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, I've enjoyed it so far. So I'd say
So I think the big thing is, are we gonna mesh with the innocent bystanders?
I
like
guess.
If we can mesh with them, and so far, I would say that I'm intrigued. Except I didn't remember who got the person that got killed in the second issue. I didn't remember him from the first issue.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, I'm sorry, buddy.
Well, with the
but I got a handle on some of the other ones. Yeah. So
with the innocent bystanders being involved in this, it kind of almost reminds me of the Purge, kind of.
Well, yeah, it does have it has a Purge quality to it, surely. I mean, that's one of the things. Yeah, I should have mentioned that one with the Hunger Games. But there's a Purge quality, but obviously only the 12 killers are really out to kill. They're not, and they're not necessarily, they don't have to kill innocent bystanders. Of course, some of them are crazoids, and this is, they're having fun either way. So whether they're, killing innocent bystanders or killing the other competitors, they don't care, so, but so you got that. But I think it also kind of reminds me of the second Aliens versus Predator movie. Did you ever see that one?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay, where they're in the small town.
Uh-huh.
They land, and then the fight ensues, but then all the other people are getting killed.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the same, because that was
I
like
can see that.
it was like an Alaskan, wasn't it? It was some sort of town that was cut off.
Mhm.
So you know, that kind of thing. So. All right, I think that's enough. We've rambled on that one, but it is good. I mean,
it is, yeah.
Apologies.
But like you said, you have to kind of read it to
Yeah.
get the full
Sure.
scope of it.
All right, so our last one we're going to talk about is I've still got one more left versus Thor, but this is Godzilla versus Avengers. So Godzilla weaving his way slowly through the Marvel universe.
I'm surprised this wasn't the last one and Thor was this one.
Well, I thought these things were tied in together, and I was totally wrong. Because, like I said, the one that went from Fantastic Four to Godzilla seemed like there was a through line.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, after that, they started jumping decades.
Yeah.
So, like, the X-Men one was the 90s X-Men. And this one is the 2000s Avengers, because it's the new Avengers. So it's the Luke Cage, Spider-Man, Wolverine team from the early 2000s.
Is that Brian Michael Bendis?
Yeah, Brian Michael Bendis. Yeah. So we've skipped now into that era.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens here in this one?
So most of this issue is the Avengers and Maria Hill, and these kids who built this, like, they call it Jet Jaguar, which is such a kind of a weird name.
It sounds familiar. Like, I think if you're a kaiju fan or you're a fan of this stuff, that is a specific name. Because it sounds very familiar to me. The look of it is Ultraman.
Yes, 100%.
He looks like Ultraman, but yes, in the back of my rattled brain, this does ring familiar. Like, it's from something, but I don't know what.
So essentially, these kids build this, giant jet jaguar, and to fight these kaijus, but they, if I remember correctly, they build them from scratch.
Yes.
Essentially, yeah. And it wasn't really tested. So it was the first time that was tested was when it was fighting Godzilla. Was it Godzilla and Fing Foom, right?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
And she's like, no, we cannot have this. Like, and there's a lot of talking heads in this, actually.
Right.
So
yeah.
But yeah, I feel like that's like the biggest part of, and Maria Hill's, they're sitting around the table and they're kind of like griping at the kids basically, but kind of also griping at each other essentially. So.
I mean, I think the interesting part of this one was the introduction of Fing Fang Foom and how, like, he's being a real baby or something,
so
like
petty.
A real whiny baby about the fact that with Godzilla around, he's not considered the greatest monster or the king of the monsters, I should say. So yeah, it's a really weird take. I don't, but yeah, and so yeah, Fing Fang Foom wants to defeat Godzilla or fight Godzilla because. He's mad Godzilla's getting all the pub.
Yeah.
So it's a really weird, and Maria Hill is almost exasperated about the fact that these two creatures are destroying stuff and and it's you're right, it's petty.
But, right.
But it makes it kind of different and interesting in this one. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean like I said, that was pretty much the whole issue. It was fun. Like, I
like
really
all of them are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just I guess we'll see what happens with the Thor one, I guess.
I'm really interested to see.
I don't know, and then he's gonna go right into versus the Marvel Universe.
Yes,
but I think that's gonna be a whole.
The one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, but that's gonna be. I think that's gonna be set in the now.
Okay.
So I think, but I don't know if these lead up to that or something.
That's
they are moving what seems to be through a time, like getting closer to the present of the Marvel Universe, but I'm not really sure what's going on. So take that as you will, but I mean, as these things go, it's just another, if you like Godzilla and superheroes in a book together, this one's just as good as all the other ones. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, all right. Well, I think that about does it for this video too.
Okay, well there you go. Another 3 or 4 books. So yeah. Probably next week there'll be nothing, right?
Probably, yeah.
No, that's not true. Someone told me that was going on vacation. They're like, "Oh my God, there's like 20 DC comics or something coming out," and that number seems a little high,
right.
it wouldn't shock me.
No, same.
So
DC's pumping them out.
They're pumping them out. Yeah. So we'll try to be back next week, and we'll have more stuff for you. So thanks for watching. Any comments you have, just add them to the video, and we'll see you later.
Yeah.
Bye, James. Bye, everyone.